There's a lot of opportunity to do good things for the benefit of the majority, not the selected few. So that's, one of the things that I'm standing for. I've been calling this stuff out for 4 years. It's finally hitting the press. But, it's almost ironic, this thing with this CRA loan for DOI. It's almost ironic that I'm advertising their 4-1 vote. They were 4-1. They should be proud of it. Vice Mayor Julian should be coming here today telling everybody, yeah, I voted for that. I don't see him standing up tooting horns about it. I don't want to be... It's a shame. But once we change this administration and we change what's going on, we're going to have a plan. And every year you're going to be able to see and measure whether or not we're doing... Because listen, I'm going to keep doing these meetings. And I'm going to keep doing these meetings, and you guys are going to come here and tell me whether I'm doing my job right or not. And I don't want to be... Right now, I'm the 1 in the 4-1, or I'm the 2 in the 3-2. And it's easy to point out problems. But are we going to have solutions? Are we going to fix the problems? Because I've identified the problems. We've all identified the problems. Now what's the solution? The solution is get a plan and execute the plan. Look at the parks. Look at the roads. Look at our buildings.
But they pay so much money for planning people.
Yeah, but Jackie, you can pay for a plan, but if you don't execute the plan, if you don't empower the people to do it, that's the problem. We have beautiful renderings sitting on the shelf. Eddie sat at a meeting last night for 3 hours and absolutely nothing got done. I spoke for 10 minutes. Because what's the point of trying to debate idiots? Her and Commissioner Levy are having a conversation for 2 hours. They said nothing. We're going to have a plan, and we're going to execute it, and you're going to measure it. Not only are you going to measure me, you're going to measure the staff and the administration. And they're going to have to be accountable, because they're the people making the big bucks. And that's what we're going to do, whether it's parks, whether it's your roads, whether it's your buildings. Bob's been in government for years. Bob's comes from cities where they're accountable, where they're actually improving, they're reinvesting. You know what we have to show for your $500 million? We have a $25 million water plant. That's about the only major investment in the $1 million Foster Park. But look at the Hepburn Center. Hasn't been touched in 20 years. O.B. Johnson hasn't been touched in 20 years. We're going to have a plan, and we're going to execute the plan. That's the best I can tell you.
The CRA, how does it work, the CRA? I know it's like halfway, there's a certain amount of years.
We got 20 minutes left, and I can talk for 10 on that. So before I delve into that, anybody got anything else that they want to go, Chad, and then Dave?
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to comment about this last meeting. I wasn't there, but I watched it afterwards on television. And I really have to say that the behavior, I think we have reached the pinnacle of absolutely total, out of control, reprehensible behavior on the part of our city commission. And I don't know about you, but I'm mad as hell and I don't want to take it anymore. They are a walking, talking embarrassment of imperial self-importance, bloated. You can't say enough about how these people behave. And we really, as citizens, have to step back and say, I'm never going to let that happen again. And never let people get so ensconced in power where the few get the benefit. Friends of these people walk away making millions out of your pockets, where they're buying property from cronies, they're selling property to cronies. People buy stuff at deep discounts, sell it at inflated values, and walk away with the profits, and then rent the damn stuff back to a nominee name. There's all kinds of squirrel cage stuff going on here that we have to put an end to. The city of Hallandale has become a honeypot that just a handful of politicians just suck dry on that $100 million. They try and fit as much personal advantage as they possibly can into that. And that's how you get people who are so indifferent, so absolutely indignant towards the people that put them in office. They don't care. Why do they don't care? Because nobody cared in the past. I think it's time to send them a message. Let's clean house. We've got 3 positions coming up. Let's turn them all out. And Mr. Julian, hey, newsflash. His first quarterly report on his finances, Guess how many people in Hallandale have given him as much as $5 for his campaign? Guess how many?
None.
One. Guess who it was? Tim. All of his money's coming from outside the district. Man, I mean, keep your wallets closed. We can't let that cabal back in. We got to take the ones we've got and put them out. Make him the mayor, and let's put some erstwhile, sincere, new people. They may not know our government very well, but I'll tell you, they're going to give us a hell of a lot better government than that rabble that we've got in there today. And we as citizens have got to make it happen.
So one of my favorite quotes, Abraham Lincoln, democracy, of the people, by the people, for the people. So you're the people. Remember that.
We
You're
need
the
to
people.
work together, and we need to do exactly what that gentleman said. We need to put our forces together. We need to get out and talk to the people.
We'll be talking more about strategy as we get closer to the election. But one of the most important things is, listen, this is a group of like-minded people. I'm not, well, but it is. But again, listen, we got a new person here that's trying to get a feel for what's going on. And again, love that you're here. Appreciate the fact that you're trying to gain information, and I think it's important. But the other thing is, you got to tell your friends and neighbors, because in a way we're preaching to the choir here, which is not a bad thing. But you got to talk to your neighbors. So when you hear these things that we know are half-truths, mistruths, and outright lies, challenge it. Don't take it as gospel, because probably it's not, and that's one of the reasons that the ensconced people do not like us, because, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not true. That's not accurate. Where's the documentation? Documentation, one of my favorite questions.
I got a couple questions. Well, the first one is real simple. What's the status of the tree program in the city?
Which tree program?
Well, we used to get a free tree.
October 1st, you can call up and get a free tree.
Okay, all right. The second question is, I thought you were talking about politics. Isn't the city, aren't they paying Julian's re-election campaign $50,000 a year the paper?
No.
Isn't
That was it. So that's two things.
Isn't that what that is?
What Chad was talking about, our quarterly reports were due on Monday, on the 10th. So from what we raised from January 1st to March 31st, you had to give your report. It's online. I insisted it be online. So I would recommend, for everybody that wants to see what Chad was just talking about, you can look at mine, the mayor's, Commissioner Levy, Michelle's, Chaba's got it. So everybody's online. Go to the city's website, go to the clerk, and then on the left-hand side of the clerk, you'll see elections. Okay. Right. So everybody's there. Everybody's thing is there. But the tree program, free tree, we funded it to, I think, the tune of, I want to say $50,000. But call now, because the money runs out. The trees disappear by the end of the year. Yeah. So call up. Bob.
Thank you.
I've had a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and people stopping by on the side of the road, wind their windows down, and people just holler at me when I walk down the street. They all have one thing they're telling me: when's the city going to do something about code enforcement on the old city hall?
Okay, City Hall. That's a good question. Let me answer that real quick. So everybody know where old City Hall is? Yeah. City Hall is on Dixie Highway at 3rd. So it's the old white building. It's next to our main fire station. The problem was, which is basically, there's a company called Aspect. Aspect, they're an eyewear company, and they want to build. But they were kind of waiting for the market. They do, I think they're in Miramar right now, but they're looking to move to Hallandale. But in the old days, CERT, Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, which is the fire department, and then the police academy. I took the class in 2000, I think. Well, they go in and they do their training. So the fire department set fires in the building. The police have broken down walls in the building. And then the city, in their ultimate wisdom, after basically partially destroying the building, gave them code violations. So they actually have newspaper articles about how great it was. The city had donated, the building owner had donated the city to come in and allow them to do these mock drills and emergency response drills. They have newspaper articles of this. And then the city said, hey, your building is falling apart. You've got to fix it. Well, they don't want to fix it. So now we're at the point in time where, so they took us to court. So everything's on hold until the court case got settled. But basically, they want to demolish the building. They want to come. We're looking at them to build I think it's a 2-story or 1-story building, distribution/office center. It should be a really nice building when it comes to be. So right now it's kind of in court, and until it gets negotiated, going back to development, it's going to be status quo for a little while. We're also talking about maybe swapping part of the property with the fire station, so we can either build a new fire station, or the fire station might end up on the Dixie Foster property. So those are the things that are up in the air right now. So keep your eyes and your ears open on that, just so you guys are aware of that.
So how many lawsuits now the city involved in?
Oh, God, the lawsuits as long as your arm. Gail, thank you. Morris, be good. Did everybody get one of these? This is my new flyer, propaganda. I got 10,000, so make sure you pick up a few on your way out the door and spread the wealth. Spread the wealth. Eddie, I'm not going to get into CRA because I could talk ad nauseum about it. And let's just say we have $9 million this year. Gabriel, any questions? Nothing for civics? Nothing I can tell you? Nothing you want to know?
I want to know something if you don't.
Go ahead, Carolyn. Stump me.
On the DOI question.
On a what?
DOI.
Okay, what about it?
Whatever happened to that equipment? Is the city, are they investigating where it is?
So today, Broward Bulldog, again, another nice article about DOI. And did you hear what I said about John earlier, about Mr. Hardwick earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I mean, because some people walked in a little bit later. John Hardwick he was pretty active in the community, lived in the north, worked in the Northwest, lived in the Southwest. He was partners with a guy from California, and basically the guy from California was literally in the pornography business. So when this issue came in front of us as a CRA 3 or 4 years ago, I basically said, Mr. Fesky, you have a very unique last name. I Googled you last night. Oh, wait, before I did that, I asked the staff, I said, did anybody do a credit report on any of these people? No, nobody did a credit report. Did anybody Google these people? No, nobody Googled these people. So me, I'm naive, I Googled the guy. Steve Fesky. You probably don't know this because this is not the crowd. Jenna Jameson, this big porn star. Well, he owned JennaJameson.com. That was his website. He owned JennaJameson.com. So I brought all this information out at the city commission meeting, and I held up a piece of paper, and I said, look, Mr. Fesky, this is you. And he said, no, that was my old life. And I said, no, last week, the California Department of Professional Regulation has you listed as the owner of this company. The mayor started slamming the gavel, and you're going to be... So fast forward to today. Basically, Mr. Hardwick passed away, and no, the city never went out. He made 2 payments, and it was never a viable business model. Never. And the city basically hasn't... That's the reporter said, how could you not close a file? I know what happened to Mr. Hardwick. I know that it went belly up. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where's our $75,000? What happened? Why didn't we close the file? Did we send a private investigator? Did we try and get the TVs? What do we do? And the sad thing is, certain people will say, well, it's not my money. Well, it's all of our money. It's my money. I want my money back. I mean, no disrespect to Mr. Hardwick's memory. I thought John really was a guy that was trying to do a lot of the right things in the community. And he was really, he participated.
Business is business.
Business is business. Gerald.
What I was going to say, part of the back room deal on that situation with John is, with no collateral, he had got $75,000 of the taxpayers' money in exchange for a vote that came up later in reference to Gulfstream. I know some of the workings of that deal. And I have to call it because Mike Good, I'm going to call his name, agreed to give John the money with no collateral, didn't own the building, in exchange for a commissioner to make sure he voted to give Gulfstream a potential $900,000 of our money. And I asked Mark, our current city manager, did y'all close the deal with the $900,000? He said, yeah, we did. I don't know exactly when. I said, but why did you come to the community with such a deception? Because the horse and pony show at the commission was about the demographics in Hallandale. But the real memo that Mike Good had received said it wasn't about the demographics. It was to take your $900,000 to pay the investors at Gulfstream a minimum of 9%. And he said, Like, that's the way the ball rolls. So that 75,000 is tied in.